Donald Trump turned the White House into an actual criminal enterprise during the first Trump administration, and now he's doing it again during the transition, and he will do it again when he's in office. So spare me the crocodile tears about President Biden pardoning his son Hunter when Hunter was clearly targeted with crimes that nobody in a similar situation has ever been targeted before with. And you see takes like this. Dinesh D'Souza, he goes, kaboom. This is one of these right-wing extremist influencers and authors in the MAGA circle, saying, kaboom, look, we're exposing Biden. Dinesh D'Souza is someone who Donald Trump pardoned, okay? I mean, seriously? And he's out there saying, look, we told you about Hunter. Okay, let's take a look at what Donald Trump has been posting, though, and what's going on in kind of the MAGA sphere right now. This is what Donald Trump posted on his social media. He goes, does the pardon given by Joe to Hunter include the J6 hostages who have now been in prison for years? Such an abuse and miscarriage of justice. Well, why would it include the January 6th insurrectionists who attacked and tried to kill police officers and tried to tear down our democracy? I like our editor-in-chief, Ron Filipkowski's take right here. He goes, okay, now Trump can pardon hundreds of thugs who beat cops in an attempt to storm the Capitol and overthrow our democracy to stop the electoral count. And Democrats can criticize that because Hunter, it's the world's stupidest take. And Ron Filipkowski nails it again there. Filipkowski writes, George Washington pardoned people convicted of sedition, Adams for treason, Madison and Monroe pardoned pirates, Jackson for a robbery conviction, Lincoln soldiers who deserted, FDR pardoned smugglers, Truman bribery and fraud. I guess none of them cared about the rule of law. You want to look at the people who Donald Trump pardoned, by the way? You want to look at the Trump pardon list? How about Joe Arpaio, Scooter Libby, Dinesh D'Souza, Bernie Kerik, Mike Flynn, George Papadopoulos, Alex Vanderswan, Chris Collins, Roger Stone, Charles Kushner, his daughter's father-in-law, who we now appointed to be the ambassador of France. And just so you know what Kushner did, he set up his brother-in-law with a prostitute, videotaped it, and then showed it to his sister because his brother was a cooperating witness against him, and a Republican-led criminal investigation into Kushner involving in election fraud. Jamie Davidson, Paul Manafort, Steve Bannon, Elliot Brody, Lil Wayne, and Judge Jeanine Pirro's husband, Al Pirro Jr. That's just a small handful of the people who Donald Trump pardoned. But let's focus on the fact that Hunter Biden, who, you know what the charges were against Hunter Biden, by the way? It was Hunter Biden filled out a form when he was under the influence of drugs, when he purchased a firearm because he was getting threatened, so he wanted to get a firearm, and he checked a box saying that he was not under the influence of drugs or alcohol. And they turned that into a felony. So yes, the Republican Party, who says basically everybody should have weapons of war, AR-15s, they prosecuted Hunter Biden for that with a Republican special counsel. If that was actually used to prosecute people, I think lots of gun owners would be prosecuted if they had recently been under the influence of alcohol, or if they had been under prescription drugs or drugs and checked that box the wrong way. And then Hunter Biden paid his taxes late. He paid him back, but he paid him late, and the Republican special counsel turned that into a criminal investigation. Here, Asawin Sebasang says the following about Hunter. I think this is a great take. My take on Hunter Biden news is that Trump has proposed creating a network of concentration camps to deal with undocumented millions in our country. I mean, seriously. I mean, for all the people who are whining and saying, oh, so we should be focused on what Trump's doing today, but now that President Biden's doing this, we have to focus. No, you're focusing on the wrong things. You are the ones who are directing your lens at the wrong things. You want to look at what Meidas focused on our primetime slots this morning? Go take a look. We talked about China tariffs. We talked about Brazil tariffs. We talked about the BRICS bloc. We talked about the uprising in Georgia, the pro-democracy movement in Georgia against the Dream Party. We're talked about Canada. We're talking about international affairs. We're talking about complex issues here on the MeidasTouch Network. This is what Donald Trump just posted as well. Biden, this is what Donald Trump emailed, by the way, to his supporters. Biden just pardoned his son. Then you open up the email that Trump sends and it goes, breaking news, Joe Biden just pardoned Hunter. Ben, do you remember when Biden said he would never pardon Hunter? That was a lie. Can we pause there for a second? I mean, Donald Trump quite literally lies 100 times every day or more. And corporate media's like, but that's just Trump being Trump. So when Biden does an act for his son, it's like, oh my God, the meltdown. Oh my gosh, President Biden said he was going to do something, but then he didn't do the one thing that he said he was going to. Oh my God, let's go after Biden. Just spare me. Spare me. I'll show you what Geraldo's take is, by the way. And by the way, Geraldo's takes have been, kind of spot on lately. He goes, most ads, including this one, would do whatever Joe Biden did. Blood is thicker than water. He was willing to tarnish his honor and reputation to save his child, who he believed was being shafted. Too bad, but it's not like he appointed him to become the ambassador to France. And the thing is as well, that the charges against Hunter relate to a period of time when President Biden was not the vice president, was not the president, was not even running for president. Unlike Donald Trump, whose son, Don Jr., and his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and his daughter, Ivanka, and others in the Trump family were enriched to the tune of millions, or in some case, hundreds of millions and potentially billions of dollars while Donald Trump is in office. Donald Trump just appointed his other daughter, Tiffany's father-in-law, who's a billionaire, to become a special advisor to the Middle East where he does business. And he appointed Ivanka's father-in-law, who he pardoned, to be the ambassador of France. I digress.
One of the single biggest predictors of how long you'll live and how good you feel while living is your metabolic health. Now, I strongly believe that you can't manage what you don't measure, and metabolic health can be difficult to measure. This is why I use Levels to track my daily health metrics and habits and ultimately optimize my metabolic health. Levels helps me understand how my food and lifestyle decisions are impacting my health. In the short term, I use Levels to optimize my energy levels during the day and manage my weight. In the long term, I'm thinking about the many chronic diseases that are directly linked to metabolic health, including diabetes, heart disease, and Alzheimer's. I use Levels with a continuous glucose monitor to get my own personalized data, which I've found to be really powerful to understand my own unique physiology. But you can also now use Levels without a continuous glucose monitor. I never realized how much pasta could really spike my glucose until I started using Levels. Levels has completely changed how and what I consume each day. The health and energy improvements I've seen since starting this journey has been a complete game changer. Levels has recently launched some exciting new features to help track your macros, protein, fiber, fat, carbohydrates, and sugar, and create daily habits around your health goals. They also provide insights based on trends in your health metrics to help guide you to make the best decisions that will have a positive impact on your health. Metabolic health is about glucose and much more, and Levels now helps you keep track of it all. Now is a great time to get started if you've been waiting for the right time to join Levels to improve your metabolic health. Right now, Levels is offering my listeners an additional 2 free months of the Levels annual membership when you use my link, levels.link/Meidas. I don't know how long this offer is going to last, so if you've been interested in learning more about your metabolic health, now is the time to get started. Levels.link/Meidas.
So let me go back to that Trump email right here. It goes, breaking news, Joe Biden just pardoned Hunter. Joe Biden just gave his son the sweetheart deal of the century, a complete and total pardon. Please read the full emergency response here. Read emergency response. Then when you click the emergency response, it goes on to say, this is from Trump. The Biden crime family wants to sweep their corruption under the rug. By the way, this is someone who President Biden invited to the White House. If you want to get mad at Biden, get mad that he invited Trump to the White House and shook the guy's hand. And I mean, but that's Biden wanting a smooth transition of power. That's Biden caring about the country and actually putting the country over his own pride to do these things. But this is what Trump's doing in return. Biden weaponized the DOJ against Trump. He speaks to himself as though it's there. And now he wants to give Hunter Biden the sweetheart deal of the century. Right now, we need a historic patriotic push that says we're not going to let them hide their corruption. Give money. The campaign's over, but take a look. They're raising $1,000, $250, and you have to click, yes, you stand with Trump. They're still what do you think they're raising money for right now? Ted Cruz is posting, Hunter Biden pardoned, just as we predicted, plus Kash Patel as FBI director. Ben Ferguson and I break it all down on The Verdict, my podcast. Dude, you're a United States Senator. You're a United States Senator. We break it down on my podcast. Why don't you go to the Senate floor and give a speech? Why don't you do what senators are supposed to? If you want to be a podcaster, why you don't just be a podcaster? It's so demeaning to our institutions. Cat Turd, who's one of the main influencers in the Republican Party, here's what they're posting, all the MAGA influencers. They're saying, Joe Biden, worst father ever. They don't even know how to spell. And they play a song, Addicted to Blow, and then it mocks Hunter Biden for drug addiction. And this, to me, is also one of the ways that I think that Democrats have played this thing all wrong. Look, addiction is, as we know, is a major issue in this country. You watching this have either suffered from addiction, or you know somebody in your family or friends who suffered from addiction or suffer from addiction, or worse, who died from addiction. The fact that Republicans mocked Hunter Biden for addiction and things he did when he was addicted, and would post photos of him naked and show all of these things at his worst condition to try to make him relapse. When I heard President Biden's voice message to Hunter, that was like the big reveal where the MAGAs were trying to mock President Biden and say, see, the laptop's real. And it's an audio recording of President Biden before he was president, while Hunter was at his worst, saying, son, I love you. I'm always going to be here for you. You can always count on me. I know you may not want to talk to me now. I know you're going through hard times right now, but I'll always love you, and I'll always be here for you, and always know that you have a place in my home and in my heart, and I'm always thinking about you and praying for you. When I heard that, that's actually the moment in the 2020 campaign that won me over for President Biden, because he wasn't playing to the cameras. That was a loving father who was there for his son. And if parents and people in lives of people who are addicted were like that to their kids, and like that to people who were addicted, I think it's one of the ways we could address addiction better, frankly. I know Trump and MAGA, we're going to do some ads about fentanyl. Well, you're mocking drug addiction generally right now. And it's so demeaning. And to me, I just think that there was actually an opportunity here for Democrats, or just human beings who cares about political parties, to speak to the issue of addiction and people who are suffering from alcohol abuse, and show humanity right there. And to me, that's what this act is, actually. It's an act of humanity and love. Look, to me, if Hunter was actually charged with some serious crimes, I don't know, like stealing nuclear secrets, trying to overthrow the democracy of the United States of America, killing people, I'd probably view it differently. But when we're talking about Harry Litman, who's partnered with the MeidasTouch network on Talking Feds. He's got a great Substack as well, Talking Feds Substack. He writes about this. He's like, this is precisely actually the type of case that falls within a pardon power and the clemency power. It's exactly what you're supposed to use it for. We're talking about non-violent crimes. where there's really no injury at all. And when it's dealing with people who suffered from drug addiction, who take accountability, Hunter's taken accountability and said, I did drugs, I did it. He wrote about it in his book. That's how they charged him with it. He wrote an autobiography where he was trying to tell people about his addiction and let people know. And they go, oh, you admitted in your book you were addicted when you bought the gun in 2017 or 2018. Therefore, we're going to prosecute you on your own autobiography. That's what they did. More bad takes from MAGA Republicans here over and over again. And then there's more whining from, even frankly, people who who view themselves as pro-democracy, whining, saying the whole news cycle has shifted now and it's Biden's fault. It's Biden this, it's Biden that. You're the media. You can choose what you choose to focus on. And look, we can acknowledge that, yes, did Biden say that he was not going to pardon Hunter? Yes. Is Biden pardoning Hunter now? Yes. He explained his reasons. As a father who loves his son, he talks about the miscarriage of justice. Okay, if that makes you upset that he did that, okay, I get it. But you have to, on a spectrum of upsetness, place that somewhere and say, okay, someone stealing nuclear secrets, somebody potentially conspiring with Russia, somebody who's out there engaged in multiple felony counts, someone who's pardoning co-conspirators, someone who's bragging about his love and affinity for January 6th. Where does this fit? Someone found liable for sex. Where do I put this in my rage-o-meter? How do I mess? And I think that's a broader issue that we need to address here at the MeidasTouch in general. Anyway, that's my take. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 4 million. Thanks for watching.
Real quick, Meta just changed their algorithm to suppress political content. Please follow our Instagram at MeidasTouch right now as we head towards 400,000 followers so you don't miss a beat.